Hola, this is Embryonic Orgy. I thought that I would make a video response to your video because I wanted to clear some things up that a lot of people may not know. Eddy Fatu, or Fatu as it's actually pronounced, aka Umaga, was released from WWE, as a lot of YouTube video makers out there have pointed out. A lot of people do not understand why he was released. You mentioned him failing the wellness tests. He probably did a couple. But the main reason is the stuff that I'm going to tell you guys. Umaga, the characteristics of Umaga were perfect for the World Wrestling Entertainment for the time. He would still be pretty good if it weren't for WWE's complete and utter flop on his character. And I will tell you why. Eddy Fatu played Umaga. Umaga was this wild Samoan who didn't speak a word of English. If he spoke, it was nothing but like Tasmanian devil, like gibberish stuff. There was actually a scene with him and the Great Khali both spouting out gibberish. But yeah, anytime he spoke, he just spoke gibberish. Nobody understood anything he ever said. And the reason Umaga's character was so successful is because on his debut, he destroyed the Nature Boy Ric Flair, automatically turned him into a heel. But people still liked him because of how psychotic he was. Then he would move on to bigger and better game like Triple H, John Cena, Batista. He would pretty much annihilate anybody he got into the ring with. Anybody that he squared off with definitely had a challenge on their hands. Umaga's character being so wild, so crazy, so uncontrollably insane made him popular. With his manager Armando Alejandro Estrada, he would pretty much annihilate anybody he got into the ring with. And eventually Armando stopped managing him. He was on his own, which kind of helped. And then he got really popular, and then the flop that the WWE writers made was this. There was an episode of SmackDown where he was feuding with CM Punk. He had a little fight with CM Punk and then picked up a mic. And magically, this wild Samoan who never spoke a word of English spat out an entire sentence to CM Punk in English, saying, "You want to fight, you want a match, you got one, a Samoan strap match," or some shit like that. He spoke as if he spoke English his entire life, which he did, but his character Umaga did not. That was a huge flop, considering that a lot of people were just like, what the hell? He's never spoke English as his character has never spoke English. Why is he doing it now? That right there actually hurt the SmackDown ratings quite a bit that night. And if you notice, shortly after the feud with CM Punk and Umaga ended, you didn't see Umaga much at all before his release. And then WWE.com posted up Umaga was released. They gave you some reasons, a little bit of reasons why. They didn't go into much detail as they ever do. You said that the wellness test was failed probably a couple times. That wouldn't surprise me. Now, a lot of people do not know this just yet, but there are rumors going around, and a couple sources have told me that Umaga, or Eddy Fatu, will be signed with TNA once again, as he was before he was Umaga. And TNA might use him for pairing up with Samoa Joe later on. Also, another WWE superstar at the moment who will be signing on to TNA probably around September is Ken Anderson, or better yet known as Ken Kennedy, Mr. Kennedy. He will be jumping ship to TNA around September after his 9 months no-show clause is up for WWE. You saw Mr. Kennedy come back, trash talk to Randy Orton a little bit, and then have a match that he didn't win at all. Since then, you've not seen Mr. Kennedy at all. That would explain his no match clause. Once September hits, you will see him on TNA. Whether or not that'll help the ratings of TNA, I'm not sure. I personally am not a big fan of TNA because they're trying to pull the same stuff WCW did, causing TNA to suck. The mistake there was that WCW had the veterans hold all the titles, not passing the torch to the younger men. Same mistakes going on with TNA. TNA is causing massive WCW reenactments, and it's not working well. But yeah, that is the information I have on Umaga as a video response to you. That's probably about all I have. But yeah, I thought that I would make this video as a response to you. I'm not saying that your information's false or anything, because he probably did fail a couple wellness tests like Booker T. Saying that he quit was just trying to keep his ego, trying to keep his pride from being hurt, because he's just like, yeah, I didn't want to deal with Vince McMahon, blah 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 bullshit. He got let go because his character had been broken so horribly they just couldn't use him anymore. But that's pretty much all I have. Later.